Hello and welcome back to Biker Stuff. Today I'm going to show you the rebuilding of my CBR1000F carbs. Hit that intro. Can I ask, if you are new here and like what I do, please consider subscribing by clicking on my face down there, then ring my bell so that you will get notifications when I upload more to YouTube. You will have seen me flashing one of my carbs around last week, but I have to be honest, that was the only one I had completely rebuilt. Let me take you through the rebuild process, one step at a time. Then, in the next video, I will put all of the carbs together, ready to bolt onto the engine. This is the carburettor body, with only the butterfly valve left inside. As you can see, I have cleaned it and given it a light spray of silver engine enamel. Let's get on with the rebuild. Step one is to replace the now clean jets that live in the float chamber. This long one is the main jet and the smaller one is the pilot jet. I did try buying a set of new pilot jets from Carb Parts UK on eBay, but they ignored my order and subsequent emails. Also in here is the float and the float needle valve. The float valve sits inside this filtered seat, and don't forget the washer. You'll need a 10mm socket to nip it up. You don't need to weld it on, just like the jets, hand tight is sufficient. Put the valve onto the float and then lower it into the seat. Lower it into place like this. I find with the float laying in the chamber like this, the pin will go into place easier. Now you're ready for the cover. I've bought new seals for this. The bike is 34 years old and I don't know if they have ever been replaced, so it has to be worth it. Push the seal into the recess and fit the chamber cover. You don't need any extra sealant on it. I'm using new JIS M4 by 16mm screws because, like most things that have JIS screws on, they have been mashed by previous owners. I didn't remove the float chamber drain screw, but if you did, please remember to refit it. Next is to fit the vacuum chamber parts. I didn't strip this lot down, but cleaned it as a whole. Remember to be careful with the diaphragm when replacing. Slide the vacuum piston down the bore and watch to see that the needle goes in the hole. I find the easiest way to get the diaphragm into the recess on the top of the carb is to have the piston up with the diaphragm drop down. Be aware of this hoop and make sure you get it in the right place. Also, there is a bulge on the cap which goes over it. Now the tough bit. Drop the spring in, but hold the piston in place. Put the cap on, carefully push down until all the spring is in and the cap sits flat on the carb. If it bulges, it probably means the diaphragm isn't in properly. Have your screws ready to hold the cap on once it's in place. Again, I'm using new JIS M4 by 10mm screws. Now, push the vacuum blanking plug. Now fit the choke. These are in 3 pieces: the slide shaft, the spring and the cap. Put it together, then screw it into the side of the carb. You'll need a 14mm socket for this. This has a plastic thread, so again, don't over tighten it, you will strip it. Finally, you need to screw the idle adjuster or pilot screw in. This is made up of 4 parts: the valve, the spring, a washer and an O-ring. Because this will need setting up later on, start it in a neutral position. Wind it all the way in until you feel it bottom out, then unwind 2 whole turns. I hope this has helped. So join me next week when I will have rebuilt the rest of the carbs and I can show you how they go back together, ready to go on the engine. Thank you for watching. I know you liked it, so tell your friends, and I'll see you here next time on Biker Stuff.